All right, hello everyone. My name is Caitlin and I'm a Midwest artist who loves to read. And in today's video, is the 12 best books of the year, according to me. So halfway through the year, I did my like favorites so far video. And the way I do my favorites is that I do a book of the year bracket, which you can see right here. In that video, I talked a little bit more about my bracket and like what the winners were for the first half of the year. But yeah, I'm gonna explore more of my reading history for the second half of the year. Also remind folks what my favorites were for the beginning part of the year, and give descriptions of some new favorites as well. And I will be recording this in two parts for me, because I don't know what my favorite book of the year for December is. We'll see what it's gonna be. But yeah, let me get started with a little review of what I've talked about before. All right, so my favorite book for January, so I don't have the physical book here because for some godly reason it like the paperback version hasn't come out yet, and it's taken 500 years to get the paperback, and I wanted to match with my paperback version of the first book, but it is technically Heavenly Tyrant. This is the first book in the series Iron Widow. It's by Xiran Jay Zhao. It's mechas in space. The second book is a lot more about political intrigue, and it talks more about like there's like a specific like empress in China in ancient history that this book took a lot of inspiration from. And I was like, I read this book like maybe like a few years ago around when it first came out. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I was not expecting the twist to be like it was. But then I wasn't sure if I was going to read the second book, but I got the audiobook for it, and whew, it just blew me away with all the political intrigue. It's not something I usually get into, like very deep political intrigue, interesting dynamics of like a royalty system like that, but it was very different and very interesting. So I really enjoyed the second book in the Iron Widow series. My February favorite of 2025 is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. So it's a classic, right? So a lot of people know what it is, sort of, but it's a sci-fi novel that really talks about like kind of being an emissary to a world, trying to understand like different people's cultures. Specifically, it talks a lot about gender ideologies in this book, because the alien society has different rules and expectations for gender than what would be seen in like more human societies. And for like a book that came at least 50 years ago, that was like really revolutionary. It was such like this is like a hard sci-fi book, and again, it's not something I normally dip my toe into, but I really enjoyed it, and it just confirmed that I wanted to try Ursula K. Le Guin because I had a feeling she was going to be a favorite of mine after like so much hype from like a couple booksellers I know about her work, and I'm just like, ooh, all right, this is really good. But like it's one of those books that I have to like sit and then like think about it and then understand that I don't understand everything about this book. So really good second book of the year. Okay, so for my March favorite, I have concerns that it did technically tank my first video that I did this year of like my halfway point favorites, just because of like YouTube's algorithm and the subject matter of this book. So I'm just gonna put it up. Here it is. And then it was my favorite book of like that quarter. So that's all I'm gonna say about this book, but it's really good. It's nonfiction, really good. This is my favorite book of April, which is a 2025 debut, I believe. It's called Blob, A Love Story by Maggie Sue. It's a lit fic book about a young, struggling young adult woman who's trying to figure out her place in life after she got dumped horrifically, who one day finds a blob in an alleyway behind a bar and then decides to take the blob home and make it her perfect boyfriend. I just thought the dialogue was really funny in this book, and it's I'm usually not like a darkly humorous kind of person, but this one, it just like landed exactly right for me. There's like some lower ratings for this book online, but I think it's just because the main character herself is very unlikable. But once I got into my head that she's just very unlikable because she's suffering from lots of depression and anxiety, and she really doesn't know her place in the world. Like, once I got that in my head, I'm like, oh, her entire being just makes so much sense now. So if you just like keep that in mind when reading this book, I think that would help you out greatly. All right, so my favorite book for what's the month? Yep, it's for May. My favorite book for May is a book that I think might be my ultimate favorite of the year. I still have to finish December's book, so I don't know for sure, but I really do suspect that's going to be my favorite of the year. And it is called Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. This came out, I believe, last year in 2024, and it was a huge hit last year. And I didn't pick it up then because I just thought it was like kind of like a traditional lit fic-y book. But once I actually like read into the description where it talks so much about art, talks about like familial trauma, and like it's very surreal and abstract with the way the writing is done in this book. That was like so interesting to parse out. It just became like an instant favorite of mine. Oh, and it talks heavily about grief and losing folks, and like grief and like think about the afterlife is really something of interest to me. Well, it's still of interest. I'm actually experiencing some I'm in the process of grief right now, and it is interesting to reflect that, because I haven't felt the experience, like a heavy experience of grief before in a long time until just recently. So I like, if I reread this book now, I feel like I would experience it so much more differently in like such a positive way. So I highly do recommend that you check this book out. I listened to it on audiobook, which I loved the narrator for it, and that really like amplified the experience of it. So please go check out Martyr. Okay, so Martyr was my second like top 3 favorite of the year. And then the final book in the first half of the year that again I talked more in depth about in my other video, which you can click wherever for. My favorite book for June is something I've been interested in reading for a while, and it wasn't until after talking with my brother a bit that I decided to give it a go, and I loved it. It is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, which this is the first book in the, I think it's called like the Wayfarers. Yeah, the Wayfarers series. It's another sci-fi. This has been a weirdly bigger year for sci-fi for me. I don't know what happened, but it's a really, I would describe it as like a cozy found family sci-fi book. It's very much interested in character dynamics and character relationships, and really fun dialogue as well. So it's basically like a road trip across space kind of book, and it was really good. I still need to pick up the second book at some point, but I really enjoyed this first book. And I should say that the first book is pretty contained too, so like I don't think you necessarily need to read the rest of the books in the series. It's very much like a well-rounded story in its own in this book. So I thought it was neat. Okay, so my favorite book of July is actually my first favorite romance of the year. Usually there's like at least like one or two more in my favorites, but I don't know, it hasn't been a romance year for me. But the book I'm talking about is A Gentleman's Gentleman by T.J. Alexander. Love is real. It is a T for T historical romance novel of a I don't know what the proper term is, but like a gentleman with money has need of a butler to help them. So gentleman's gentleman there, of a butler to help him find someone to marry so he can secure his family's wealth, because the rest of his family has died. And well, along the way, they find out that they're in love with each other. And I really enjoyed the audiobook for it. I just remember distinctly of like coming back from Des Moines from a trip, and I'm just like, love is so real, it's so good. I don't know, it makes me want to read more T for T romance books out there, because I just found like the trans joy in this book to be so fulfilling. It was really good. I love this book, and it makes me want to read more of T.J. Alexander's work, because they do more T for T, and like also just like one-sided trans relationship books. So love is real, love it. Okay, for the rest of the year, I need to give more context. So as I alluded, I'm currently grieving right now. So it all kind of started like at the end of summer, when I was experiencing some hardships with my dog Pistachio. So my reading, like how much I'm reading, my joys of reading was really tanked at the end of the year. So this is where there's gonna be more unusual books, because like either I didn't read that much in that month, so it just became like maybe just like a standard 4-star book became my favorite of the month, or just like it was completely out of like left field choice for me. So yeah, so that's the context for the next books I'm going to mention. So the next favorite is my August favorite, and maybe I was like feeling the T for T love and just wanted to learn more about trans history. I came back from Comic-Con around then, and one of my friends that I go to Comic-Con with bought that book there, and I was just like, oh, you know what, maybe I need to read that. And the book in question is Trans History from Ancient Times to the Present Day by Alex L. Combs and Andrew Eckert. I got it originally from the library. It is a graphic novel history book, and it talks about like famous historical figures in the past. Is be like, hey, there were trans people in the past, don't ignore that. To like more current like trans issues like in present time. I thought like just the knowledge itself was really good to know about. I thought the art was okay. It wasn't anything like legendary, the book, but it was still, I'm really glad that I did read it just for the pure knowledge part of it. So if you do want to learn more about trans history, I recommend that book. All right, for my favorite book of September, obviously I was feeling the spooky vibes of like approaching Halloween and things like that. So I tried to read like a whole bunch of different horror novels, and then this kind of exploded at the end of the month, but whatever. But long story short, my favorite book of September was The Lamb by Lucy Rose. I believe this is also a 2025 debut. It's, how do I explain this book? It's kind of like a dark fairy tale in a way. It's about a young girl who's living in like a derelict cabin with her mother, who is very much not treating her well. And then one day, this other woman comes to the cabin, and they discover, the mom and the woman discover they have the same interests of eating people. So they come together and they make a romantic relationship with one another, and it kind of like, as soon as like this other woman comes, everything just starts to like slowly disintegrate and then explodes at the end. It's very dark. Some descriptions are really a little bit nasty. But I love like women being bad. I thought it was a really interesting perspective to be in. Also, like the perspective of just being a younger girl, just like this is how she grew up. So like everything that's going on with her is normal. And like that's just, it's like at the same time it's interesting, but it's also very heartbreaking. And and the ending's really sad as well. Is it a perfect book? No. Is it like up there as like a really good favorite of mine? Yes. So I do recommend reading The Lamb by Lucy Rose. Oh, and wait, hold on, one thing. I totally pictured this setting. One of the reasons why I didn't give this like a perfect rating is I pictured this setting as like a Southern Gothic kind of moment. And lo and behold, like when I first tried the audiobook, I had to put the book down because it's a British voice that's doing the audiobook narration. And then when I tried the book again, I was just like, wait, is this set in England? No, this does not fit my vision. I don't know why I got in my head that like this is like a Southern Gothic kind of book, but it's not. So I I think the setting would have been much better in the South. Can I explain why? I don't know. Like maybe like there's lots of like Southern Gothic books that deal with like hard family relationships. So like maybe that's just like a theme that I see a lot in literature. And I thought that would be more fitting to something like this. I don't know. But anyway, it's a good book. Please go check it out. So my favorite book of October is a book that is part of my 100 graphic novels you must read list that I've been working on trying to complete that list for the past few years. And it wasn't until like, what is it? Yeah, October that I realized that I really haven't made much progress on that journey. So I was like, I need to do some reading. And one of the books that happened to be my favorite of the month was, let me get this better, New Kid by Jerry Craft. It is a juvenile graphic novel about a black boy who goes to this like very pretentious, like wealthy, like private school. He was able to get in through a scholarship, and it's like his first year. New kid, obviously. So it's a new kid there. He's in a completely different environment than what he grew up with. He's meeting new people, and this book explores heavily conversations about race. And I thought this is what made this the favorite, is that the conversations were just so intelligent. Like it's able to be conveyed to like a younger kid, but also like I saw the depth in the conversations that this book was having, and it's a really good book to think through. Is the art my favorite? No, it's really not my favorite, but the writing was like so up there that it just had to be my favorite for that month. I mean, it's a heavily awarded, like it has the Coretta Scott King Award and the Newbery Medal Award, rightfully so. So if you are interested in a juvenile graphic novel, I would recommend this one. Right, for my favorite book of November, I think I talked about this on this channel a lot, is that my favorite book of November is When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This is another 2025 release. I'm usually like not in it on like this year's releases. I don't know what's happening, but like I was there's just been a few releases, so I was like, I need to read this as soon as possible, and they got to be my favorites, so maybe it's worth checking them out. But yes, so When the Wolf Comes Home, it is a horror novel about this young woman who's like a struggling comedian who one day meets a scared lost boy who's running away from his abusive father. And it's hard to explain more of the book because it gets really surreal and like out there with what happens in it. So they're being chased down by a wolf man creature. There's all these other elements to it that make it more like a supernatural horror book. And if I told you that I would like one of my best books of the year, because this is competing against Martyr, by the way, is a supernatural horror, I would not believe you. That's usually not my go-to with books like this. This book heavily talks about parental relationships and how the complexities of fatherhood specifically. And there's elements of like those complex relationships where I'm like, oh, you know what? I kind of feel this conversation. It was just really, you can tell that this book was made with a lot of love and a lot of personal experience. The afterword in this book is like truly enlightening. And like I definitely cried several times throughout this book. I was like, oh no, I feel that. Oh no, or it's just like, oh no, my character, I don't want them to get hurt. There's like so many good ups and downs with this book. It's like in my brain, it's truly like a masterpiece. Did I like get like as in depth of a rating with Martyr? I don't know. It's like Martyr has its own talks, like it's definitely more so like talking about like the general overview. It's not exactly experience that I've experienced before with the discussions that are in the book. With When the Wolf Comes Home, there's definitely more things, personal things that I connected with to the book. So it's really going to be a toss up for the end of the year. I don't know. My gut's right now leaning more towards Martyr, but we'll see when like I filmed the last part of this video. So When the Wolf Comes Home, for sure my favorite horror book of the year. Okay, so what about December? So it is currently December right now. It's about like the middle of the month, maybe even the 19th, something like that. I don't remember. As I said before, I've been experiencing grief right now. So my reading has been terrible. I'm just trying to find any book that I can finish right now. So it's more so books that are like personally satisfying, or they're like more on the goofy side. I'm gonna try to read 2 more like 100 best graphic novels. Let me just grab them right here. One of them is, let me show you, Black Hole by Charles Burns. Since it's more of a serious, well, sort of serious subject matter, it's definitely a dark horror kind of book. I'm not sure if now's the right time to read it, but I have like so few graphic novels left to pick from my list. So the art is incredible. I just not sure if I'm at the right headspace for that. And the other one is Honor Girl by Maggie Thrash, which is I know it's definitely more of a serious graphic memoir. So we'll see if I get through those. And then, let's see, one book that I have finished this month is Murder on the Links, which is the second book in the Hercule Poirot mysteries by Agatha Christie. I thought it was a fun time. Poirot's just like a weird little man, so it was just fun just reading his weird little mystery. It's like completely out the wall. It's like with Christie novels, I feel like you really can't guess like what the ending is going to be, and like at this point I was just like, you know what, I'll take it, I'll take it. I'll take crazy, I'll take out there mysteries like that, and it was a fun time. So that might be my favorite book of the year. Well, or not of the year, my favorite book of the month, I should say. It could be, or so going along with goofy recommendations, my therapist thought it would be fun to choose something that's more goofy and lighthearted. I was at Dog-Eared as per usual, and not one, not two, but three booksellers there recommended that I read Ice Planet Barbarians. And I'm 60 pages in it, and I'm really worried that might be my favorite book of December. I don't know what else to tell you guys. I really don't, but I do like the rating of it. It's out there. It, like, I can feel the love. So Ice Planet Barbarians could potentially be my favorite book of December. But yeah, I will see you guys in a week, and it'll just be in a second for you guys, but we'll see what my favorite book of December, and if I've decided on my favorite book of the year. Okay, be right back. All right, hello everyone. It's about a week later or so. So I'm about to mention what my favorite book of December is. And no, it's not gonna be Ice Planet Barbarians. I'm only halfway through. So it turned out my best book of December, I mean, barring if there's like, I read something on the 31st or whatever, is gonna be the newest released volume of The Summer Hikaru Died. I think volume 6, I think. And since it's like in the middle of a series, it's kind of hard to explain what the specific volume's about. But basically, it is a queer horror manga about like, I think it's Yoshiki, and oh gosh, I'm gonna explain this badly. But it's about one boy, Hikaru, who comes back from the mountains and it's discovered that from one of his best friends that Hikaru's not Hikaru anymore, and the story kind of evolves from there to trying to figure out who this Hikaru is and what's going on with the town. So it's a really great series. I had that checked out for like at least like several weeks now. So I'm glad I was finally in the mood to read it. But yeah, so the newest volume of The Summer Hikaru Died, very good, very good. So yeah, what does that entail for my best book of the year? So it's not surprising to me, but yep, it is going to be Martyr. It's such a great book. It's gotten so many awards for a reason. I just encourage you to go check it out. Even if you're not super interested in the like lit fic realm, as I've discovered that this year I've been very much more into genre books. But it is nice to read something that's a little bit outside of my quote-unquote comfort zone, because you can find a new favorite like that. So yeah, what was your favorite book of the year? Feel free to comment down below, and yeah, I'll see you next year in my next video. All right, thank you, bye bye.